Hello everybody on the internet and YouTube, welcome back to the Sims 2 Pleasant View series here with me, Addict. Today we are just doing a very short bonus video because I decided I needed to slightly renovate the Pleasant house. This is part of my ongoing Pleasant View series. If you haven't seen it, I highly suggest checking it out. It's a beast. It's like 89 episodes plus college, so you know, if you've got a spare month or so, maybe you could binge watch it, I don't know. But yeah, so Mary Sue has divorced from her husband Daniel and the house is now hers. Her daughter Angela has just come back from college and she's finally managed to save up enough money to have a little bit of spare cash to renovate the house. So we decided to go ahead and do that, and this is actually the first time I've done a significant renovation of this house, which is pretty crazy considering how many times I've actually played through Pleasant View. So it did take me a little bit to figure out what I was doing, what I wanted to do, particularly here with the stairs. You can see me messing around with the stairs quite a bit, trying to reconfigure them, trying to make them make more sense. In the end, I actually just go to undo and leave the stairs as was. There are a couple of things that I knew that I wanted to do to this build. One was that I wanted to try to eliminate the rooms that didn't have windows. I feel like in reality it's quite rare for a room inside a house to not have a window, barring potentially like a very small toilet, you know, which in that case would probably have an exhaust fan to, you know, vent those fumes and get some fresh air in and everything. So that was one thing that was the first thing I did, was demolish those two small rooms in the middle of the house that had no windows. I wanted to shrink the bedroom and make the living room substantially bigger. I wanted Mary Sue to have an office because she's a hardworking, career-driven lady, and this renovation is Mary Sue's renovation. This is like her fulfilling her, you know, what she's wanted to do to this house for a very, very long time. So her ensuite and office, I end up putting towards the back of the house there. I do something incredibly realistic there and I shimmy the fireplace along because I always wondered why the fireplace is in the bedroom rather than the living room in this build. Always really weirds me out. So yeah, you can see there I have made the living room quite a bit larger. I've put the fireplace centered along that wall, and here we are going to pick out some wallpaper. So for the Pleasant house, there are a couple of sort of design elements that I had in mind. I wanted it to be a little traditional. I wanted to be a little inspired by Mary Sue's Asian heritage. I wanted it to be quite light and bright and like understated fancy. I wanted it to look wealthy but not overly wealthy. So like higher middle class basically is what I was going for with this lot. And I am actually very happy with how it turned out. In the end, it just took me a long time to really nail the design that I was going for. It took me ages even just to pick out the couches, as you can see here. And for ages I was gonna leave some of the flooring and carpets and everything as was, and then I was like, you know what, no, this carpet will just not do. So, but yeah, I wanted to have a really large living room because Mary Sue is in the journalism career. She's actually quite a sociable sim. She wants to be able to throw parties, and Angela obviously has always been a bit of a party animal. I feel like the Pleasants, they are a family who want to have people over, they want to entertain, so I wanted to give them a better space for entertaining and for having, you know, like family get-togethers and things like that. So that's why I wanted to make the living room quite a lot larger so that it's a space where people can gather. Now obviously everyone knows that the Pleasants are actually not very pleasant and they don't really get along with each other or other people that well for that matter, but it's all about appearances, you know? So yeah, you can see here I'm just going through and filling in this living room now. I was thinking about trying to put something different on the other side of that fireplace there, bookcases on one side and maybe like a cabinet on the other. In the end it just looked really bizarre, so I just go ahead and put in extra bookcases. Here I'm going to go through and paint all of the roofs, a very important step that I often miss when I do house builds and renovations, but it does make a huge difference to the end product. But yeah, so and then the other thing I wanted for this house was to get more bedroom space, particularly in the upstairs. I always thought that it was a bit bizarre how little space there was in the Pleasant household for bedrooms, and I don't know, this house's layout is just really strange when you first start up the game. It's very bizarre. There's just unused space. You can see there that I extended that small room in the front there by 1 tile because by default it's only 3 tiles wide, and there's just this super duper random little part where there's like no wall and I don't even know. And here I am going through and I am about to fix the roof. Because these rooms are up in the roof, they're like kind of part of the roof and built into the dormers and everything. When you start playing with them, you can often have walls that aren't actually walls, and which can lead to the game thinking that those rooms are outside rather than inside. So I went through, I demolished all of the roofs, I replaced all of the walls with actual walls, and now I'm just going ahead and replacing all the objects in there. Whenever you are messing with walls in The Sims 2, you want to make sure that there are no objects or windows that are going to interact with the roof, because otherwise it'll give you an error. It'll be like, cannot place roof, blah, blah, blah. I don't like it. And it's actually really, really annoying. So yeah, whenever you're messing with roofs, and I am still planning on making a roofing tutorial, like a full roofing tutorial, but whenever you're messing with roofs, you want to make sure you just get all of your objects out, all of the windows out, and then you can put them back in after. This bedroom up here is still going to be Angela's bedroom. You can kind of see me starting to decorate it here. I wanted it to still be quite girly, still be a bit youthful, but just be a little bigger. I wanted to give her a double bed, so you can see I've gone in and given her a beautiful cast iron frame, and I'm just decorating with some extra Jonesy pillows and blankets, which I think just really add to the room. And yeah, I did struggle with the layout a bit because obviously this room is just so dang small. I ended up moving the computer down into Mary Sue's office because that computer is used more by Mary Sue than it is by Angela. So I was like, well, Angela doesn't necessarily need a desk in her bedroom anymore, so let's move that downstairs. That bass guitar is something that she actually brought home with her from college, so I wanted that to be in her room, and I thought it turned out quite nicely. And then you can see there over the other side where Lilith's bedroom was, I divided that into 2 separate rooms because I wanted there to be, as I said, more bedrooms in this upstairs area, so that if Angela or whoever ends up living in this house wants to have kids, they can have a few more kids rather than just having the 2 bedrooms up there. And then, yeah, you can see me there. I've just finished off doing the roof. So I ended up separating the roof into a couple of separate pieces. And I think it turned out quite well. And now here I am starting work on the sort of downstairs area, kitchen area, and just going back to changing out some of the windows. I wanted to change that to a window where you could have counters beneath it, just so we get more kitchen space in there. And then at this point, I think I realized, oh, why do I even have this wall in the middle of this room? I probably don't actually need it. Maybe it's now, maybe it's a little bit later that I realize I've got a completely superfluous wall there. Because originally I was thinking we'd have like a hallway. We'd have like an entry foyer and then we'd have a hallway. And then I was like, wait a minute, this whole space could just be the entry foyer. Because I wanted this house to feel roomy. I wanted it to feel wealthy, but not overly wealthy, which is kind of what I was trying to allude to before. I'm just struggling with my words because words are hard. Yeah, so here you go. I'm like fiddling with the shape, and then I think I'm just like, wait a second, like I don't actually need that wall. Oh, look at that. Now it's like a beautiful large entry foyer. So that ended up looking really nice, I think. And then in here, I think I do actually end up getting rid of that fireplace eventually, more so because I was starting to run really low on money. So we started out this renovation just shy of about 20,000 simoleons to carry out the renovations to the house. I think maybe it was like 15,000. But we did actually end up running short on money. I didn't end up being able to do everything that I wanted to do. So we've basically, at the time that this renovation ends, we've completely renovated Angela's bedroom and the whole downstairs floor, but we still have to finish the rest of the upstairs. I still want to renovate the upstairs bathroom and those other 2 bedrooms that I created down the end of the house. So there is still a little bit more to be done, but Mary Sue is just going to have to save up a little bit more money before she can finish that off. And yeah, I think it's going to turn out really, really nice when it is completely done. But for now, we still, yeah, just left with a little bit more to do. So Mary Sue's bedroom, as you can see here, it is substantially smaller now, but I don't think Mary Sue would particularly need a huge bedroom. She's still got an ensuite, she's got room to keep her clothes, and I think the large living room is much more to her taste and something that she would think is quite important. And here I go. I end up switching out a lot of the walls for some dark wainscoting, and I think it actually really added to the house. I think it turned out looking really nice. I tend to always go for white wainscoting, and I've really got to get into the habit of using dark wainscoting a little bit more because I think it turns out looking really good. But yeah, here I am just putting her ensuite back together. I tried to make that tub work and I ended up just deleting it because it's the ugliest dang bathtub in The Sims. I swear. Why is it yellow? I don't get it. It's like, yeah, it's fun for like a Tiki Island build, but as a bathtub in your ensuite? No, I don't think so. I also did regret a little bit that we lost one of the downstairs washrooms, water closets. We lost that extra downstairs toilet that the house originally had for guests to use. Bit unfortunate, but at the same time, I just wanted to open up the space, make it make more sense, make it feel more roomy, and as I said, avoid having any rooms with no windows. Here I am messing with the kitchen, and I couldn't get the counters to work the way I wanted, which was really unfortunate. So there's an awkward gap there in between the stove and the island counter. I might come back in and add a half wall in between there, because I think it'll look better. I briefly toyed with the idea of completely replacing all of their cabinets with these ones here. I think they look a lot nicer and I think they suit the house a lot nicer, but unfortunately we didn't actually have enough money to really make this work. So actually, I said before that the downstairs is completely renovated. I lied. I lied terribly. The kitchen still needs some extra renovating as well. So yeah, all of these cabinets I think look absolutely gorgeous, and then or cupboards, and then I start adding the cabinets and then I realize I'm out of money, and I'm like, oh, that's probably not really worth it at this stage. They're gonna have to hold off on renovating the kitchen until a later date. Here, there, I did delete that. The other reason I deleted it though was because I really wanted to center the table in the middle of the room, which I thought looked a lot nicer. So I did that, and I think it turned out looking very nice. I would like to actually replace their dining table as well with something a bit bigger, nicer, more modern. And there's still a lot of detailing that I wanted to do in this lot too. I wanted to add more curtains, more clutter, make it feel and look more lived in, but we might have to hold off on that as well until we have, again, just a little bit more money. But that's all right. I mean, it's like not the end of the world to have, a bit of an empty house at this stage. Like Mary Sue's probably not really much of a clutter person. That might be something that is more when Angela is running the house. There's a lot more clutter. That might be a thing that we notice. But yeah, so the renovation is all but done at this stage. I think I go in and I add another rug in the big entry room there, which I think looks very nice. And and I add a nice little sort of like sideboard unit over here, using some kitchen counters and cabinets. And this is something that I have noticed builders in The Sims 4 do quite a bit, and I was watching I have been watching a lot of Annie Bates's YouTube channel recently. If you haven't seen her, I highly suggest you check out her channel, particularly, she's got a great Pleasant View series and Sims 4 to 2 build conversions. Very, very cool. But yeah, I noticed her doing it as she was recreating a Sims 4 build. She used some cabinets or counters to create like a sideboard unit and like to create sort of like built-in TV cabinets and stuff, and I was like, oh, that's really clever. So over here I add in this really nice kind of sideboard. I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do with it. I think I end up putting a mirror over the top of those two counters. And then eventually I would like to fill the whole thing with clutter. And the reason, of course, that I want to do that is to stop The Sims from trying to use it as an actual counter, which would be annoying and not something that I want. I really wanted a beautiful, huge mirror in that spot as well, but then I, again, was kind of out of money, so we didn't manage to do that. So just, looking at some screenshots of the lot now. This is the entry room. Then we have the living room over here. I'm very happy with how this one turned out. Looking through these screenshots, I do think I might want to change the roof from plain stark white. I don't think it actually matches all that well. Maybe we'll think about changing it to some kind of like a, I don't know, wood texture, just to make it look a little less bright. But yeah, the kitchen, as I mentioned, still needs to be renoed. I would like to do more with this little space in here. This is Mary Sue's just tiny little work office with her piano, pottery wheel and computer. Angela's upstairs bedroom with the peaked roofs I think looks really nice. And I do need to maybe change the interior picture there. But yeah, this is the layout now of the downstairs. I'm really happy with it. I think it looks 10 times better. So I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little speed renovation. Definitely leave a like on the video if you did, hit subscribe, hit notify if you want to join in and watch the Pleasant View series. I highly recommend. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.